Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about Stranger Things 5, Part 1, Subdivision B, Article 3, Clause 16.
Nice.
Now, we're going to be talking about the first part of Stranger Things Season 5. We also have some news stories to go over and some trailers to talk about. And we've got our On the Horizon segment, which is where we're going to start things off now with our On the Horizon segment.
On the horizon.
On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up in the next week or so, and we're starting things off with Percy Jackson and the Olympians, which is returning to Disney Plus on Wednesday, December 10th. So I saw it looks like it's also coming to Hulu, so that would be different. It means that I don't have to get Disney Plus to watch it, I guess. I don't know. I can never tell with, sometimes Disney puts shit on both, and sometimes they only put it on one. They're weird like that. But that's coming Wednesday, December 10th. The Game Awards is going to be airing on Thursday, December 11th. This year, it's airing on Amazon Prime. So they're doing it directly, I guess. I'm probably gonna tune in. Are you gonna tune in for the Game Awards?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the Game Awards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can voice chat to make it more tolerable. Because the Game Awards I always tune in, and then I'm like, why did I tune in? But if I have some people to watch with and chat about and make fun of all the crap, then it makes it more entertaining. Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, is returning on Netflix for its second season on Thursday, December 11th. This is the animated Tomb Raider series. Wake Up Dead Man is coming on Friday, December 12th to Netflix. This is the next Knives Out movie. Terminator 2D No Fate is coming on Friday, December 12th to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Switch. Again, like no Switch 2 version in sight, but that doesn't really matter because it'll play since it's a Switch game. Have you heard that? I don't know if it's true, that this game is $60.
I haven't heard that.
It's like a pixel art game for $60. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
The Terminator 2D pixel art game, yeah. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
So.
This cannot be a $6 game. And I'm not usually one to be like all precious about price. Price is what you're willing.
Quite comfortable with, yeah.
Nintendo eShop has it set for $30 for digital.
I'm seeing base edition, $60, collector's edition, $119.99.
What version's the $60 version?
The base edition. That's just the regular version. Collector's edition is like $120.
It's on the eShop for $30.
Okay. Well, that's good,
okay.
Hopefully.
What's interesting about...
I'm seeing it GameStop here at $60.
What's interesting about Terminator 2D No Fate is it's the first commercial game by indie developer Bitmap Brothers, who did Xenocrisis, which was an indie game that they published for multiple platforms, including the Sega Genesis, N64, Sega Dreamcast, and Neo Geo, that they published themselves. And so it's interesting to see them do like a modern 2D game on modern platforms.
Mm-hmm. I just hope it's not $60.
I mean, I don't know. Where are you seeing the $60?
If you type in Terminator 2D No Fate price in Google, you get a bunch of results about it being $60.
Oh, I see the AI overview, but I'm not good at that.
Oh, not even that. Like GameStop here has it for $60.
Yeah, they do. That's weird. Is it like the physical version? Is GameStop guessing?
I don't know. Here on Amazon 2D No Fate Day 1 Edition PlayStation 5, $60.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Maybe it was supposed to be 60 and they're changing it. Maybe that's why you're seeing it for 30.
It's
or maybe
30 on the
30 was a
Nintendo
guess.
eShop for like the digital. Maybe it's 60 physical if you buy digitally.
That would be kind of crazy to be double the price for physical.
Oh yeah, that would be crazy.
Because there is a collector's edition that's separate that costs more, so it's not like as if the physical version is a collector's version.
Does this come with anything? Oh yeah, okay. It comes with a reversible cover sleeve, unknown future cloth poster, 25mm collectible metal arcade token, full color manual book, and collector's box. So they're throwing like a bunch of.
But is that the collector's edition though, or the base version? Because the base version is $60.
Day one edition, $60.
Okay.
I'm looking at that on Amazon.
They need better messaging.
The collector's edition includes everything in the day one edition, as well as the collector's tin steelbook, Fiery Visions cloth poster, premium metal paperweight, flip book, and art book. So it's the game, but it comes with like a bunch of junk, so that's why it's $60. Okay, that makes sense. And that's why the digital's $30, because obviously you don't get all the tchotchkes with like a $30 digital game.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They need better messaging. This developer needs better messaging.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right. Next up, we have Ella McCay. This is the new movie from James L. Brooks of The Simpsons. It stars Woody Harrelson, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Emma McCay. And that's coming on Friday, December 12th to theaters.
All right.
Dust Bunny. You know what this is, right? Oh. This is the directorial debut of one Brian Fuller, starring Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, okay. I don't know who either of those people are.
That is coming to theaters on Friday, December 12th.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And Lone Samurai, which we reacted to the trailer for it, I think, at our last podcast.
That was like the samurai that was like on the beach.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, okay.
That's also coming on Friday, December 12th to theaters.
Interesting.
But that is it for our On the Horizon segment. Now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat is our news segment. Usually we start with our news stories and then end on trailers, but thematically for this episode, we're going to start with the trailers. So the first trailer we got up is Dead Man's Wire. Based on a true story, Bill Skarsgård reprising his role as Pennywise. No. Bill Skarsgård playing a guy who's had it, and he's fighting against the system, and he's got a man at gunpoint with a dead man's wire attached to the gun so that they can't just like kill him and get the guy away, like it'll kill him if he goes down. Yeah, what did you think of this trailer?
Looks good. Looks like a good movie. I would watch it.
It looks like the kind of story we need now.
Yeah.
When prices are high and corruption is rampant.
Very relevant.
Yeah. Next up, we got a trailer for Return to Silent Hill. We talked, I believe, about the teaser that came out.
Yeah, teaser. This looked actually better. This full trailer looked more in line with the tone of Silent Hill than the teaser did.
This also outright confirmed it is an adaptation of Silent Hill 2 specifically, which seemed to be the case from the trailer that we saw, but now it's like outright confirmed.
Oh yeah, it's outright confirmed. I think we knew that already, but yeah, it is like, 100% the Silent Hill 2.
It says it straight in the trailer too this time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And this is Christoph Gans is directing. He did the first Silent Hill movie way back in the day, and he hasn't done too terribly much since. So he's kind of been like dormant, and now he's returning for this. He also did a movie back in the day called Brotherhood of the Wolf that was really good before he did this first Silent Hill movie. So he's returning to the director's seat, and you got to see this. I think you were a little skeptical with the teaser that came out first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was a little skeptical with that. The full thing looked better.
Mm-hmm. But that is coming. And then we've got How to Make a Killing.
We got the new Glenn Powell movie.
Yeah. Glenn Powell, the new busiest man in Hollywood.
He's so hot right now.
Yeah. He's playing all sorts of like fun comedy adventure type roles where he's doing these kind of roles where it's like a little bit dark, but like also kind of fun and quirky and stuff.
And this, he plays a man born into a wealthy family who is basically killing his family members to claim the inheritance.
His family members
the family fortune.
Awful people too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be it's not going to be like oh God, he's killing these people. It's horror. It's so scary and stuff. It's going to be like, no, you're like cheering him on as he's killing these.
Yeah, they're framing him as like a protagonist, even though like, yeah, as far as I can tell from a trailer, he's not doing anything morally virtuous. He's trying to get a bunch of money for himself.
Yeah, but he's killing people that are even worse, so that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Margaret Qualley plays some character in the trailer who seems like be in on it or knows what he's doing as like kind of egging him on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's interesting. Don't know what that relationship's going to be. Probably going to end up being a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Topher Grace is in this. I didn't even recognize Topher Grace in this trailer at first. I mean, it's got Zach Woods, Jessica Henwick, Ed Harris. It's got a pretty stacked cast.
Yeah. Gotta have a nice hit list of people for him to kill.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last trailer we got this week, I'm excited for. You just recently saw the first movie. This is the trailer for the second movie. Ready or Not 2, here I come. We reacted to this, I don't know, 2 months ago or something like that. Just recently, you finally got to watch this movie.
Yeah,
it's from the guys who did the Scream movies.
And the trailer makes it clear that this takes place immediately after the ending of the first movie.
Yeah.
This picks up right after. You know what? It's nice seeing Sarah Michelle Gellar again. I am here for the Sarah Michelle Gellar comeback.
She's been doing a few things. She was in she did that Teen Wolf revival show, which was a revival of that Teen Wolf MTV show, not the movies. Yeah. And then she's doing a Buffy reboot right now that she's heavily involved.
Yeah, she's working on a Buffy reboot, so she's having a renaissance. And now she's heavily featured in Ready or Not 2.
And this looks like a fun role for her,
Yes. Of course, Samara Weaving is back. She's got a sister this time played by the girl from the vampire movie.
Oh, yeah. The one that was done by the same guys. Yeah, Abigail.
Yeah, Abigail, yeah.
The hacker chick from Abigail.
Yeah, and I'm spacing on her name.
That's fine. Elijah Wood.
Yeah, Elijah Wood's in this. Catherine Newton, that's the woman's name I was trying to think of. Yeah, Elijah Wood's in this. Again, this looks like it's going to be in the same vein as the first movie. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. First movie was a surprisingly good time, and this looks like it's continuing on with that. So yeah, exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to this one. And now you've seen the first one, so you can be excited along with me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Now we're going to move on to the news stories from the past 2 weeks here. And we've got two we're covering. First up, God of War, the Amazon series. So this has been in development since 2022, I think. But it went through some troubled stuff. They had a showrunner initially attached that dropped out. And then they hired Ron D. Moore. And that was big news when that happened because, he did the Battlestar Galactica remake. And he did For All Mankind on Apple TV Plus, and he did Outlander, which is really popular on Stars. And so it's okay, yeah, you got a top tier showrunner attached to this now. So that was exciting. But now they quietly just kind of made it a 2-season order for the series, which is really cool. That means that they're going straight ahead with 2 seasons. There was no oh, is this going to continue? Is this not going to? Whatever. It's rumored to have a very big budget with elaborate sets and stuff, which is cool because you need that for God of War, It's not going to work if you just make a remake of Hercules and Xena, You have to go big. And they announced that director Frederick EO Toye, who did Shogun, directed some of the episodes of Shogun, is going to be directing the first 2 episodes of the series. So now you got the director of the Shogun series, you've got Ron D. Moore of Battlestar Galactica, you've got a 2-season order already down the pipeline before they even begin production, and you've got this excessive budget with huge set pieces. This is shaping up to be good.
Yeah, it is shaping up to be good. It also helps that the more recent games did a lot to flesh out the storytelling and flesh out Kratos as a character.
Yeah.
Give him more depth than the earlier games did.
That's, I believe, this is where this is starting too. I don't think this is starting up with the events of the original games. This is kind of more along the lines of the newer games.
Yeah.
It's got the Norse gods and stuff. Cause that's what Ronald D. Moore has said, that he doesn't really play games, but he watched he watched basically a full playthrough of the game and was addicted to it. It was he was watched it like a movie, basically.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he thought it was really compelling and he wanted to work on it from that. So that tells me it's probably not going to have really anything to do with the original games. But that might be for the better for the narrative direction they're going in. Because the original games are a little schlocky. I don't think that that's totally what they're going for. They're going for epic and big, They're not trying to do what Peacock did with Twisted Metal. They're trying to do more Game of Thrones. So I think that might make more sense. But that's cool. I mean, I was excited once they announced Rondi Moore was attached. That was all it took for me. I'm like, okay, Rondi Moore is attached. I want to watch this now. Everything else is just like excessive heaping amounts of gravy poured on top.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Ron Moore is like, yep, okay, you can have confidence in this.
Yep. It's kind of like seeing Brian Fuller attached, you know? It's Damon Lindelof attached. You put somebody really big on there that's good, and it's like, yeah, I just want to watch this now. Just give it to me. Just shut up and take my money.
Right.
And then the last news story we got is that Stranger Things 5, which is our topic for the show, had the biggest English language premiere week for Netflix. So keyword here, English language, because Squid Game still has the biggest opening week for any Netflix show. But for an English language show, Stranger Things 5 has taken the reins from Wednesday season 1, which I believe took the reins from Stranger Things season 4. It had 58.6 million views, which beats Wednesday season 1, which had 56 million views. But as I said, both are behind Squid Game, which is still number 1 overall, but just not an English language show at 68 million views.
Mm-hmm.
There's also tied to this, we didn't pick this for the story, but I think it just makes sense to bring it up since we're here. They're putting the final episode, which is like feature length, dropping on New Year's Day. They're putting it for New Year's Day in theaters.
Yeah, which is interesting. So it is like a 2-hour long episode, so like it is theatrical length. So that's pretty interesting though.
Yeah, this is all good news for us, and I'm excited to watch some more of Stranger Things, and that's where we're going to segue into our main topic for the night, full spoilers. This week on Full Spoilers, we are talking about part 1 of Stranger Things Season 5. That's all that's out so far. It's the first 4 episodes.
Yeah, the first 4 episodes. When the next episodes drop? Like Christmas?
So the next 3 drop on Christmas, and then the last episode drops on New Year's.
Yeah, so we got 4 more episodes in total.
Yes. 8 episodes total for this season. 4, 3, 1 is like the way they're releasing. Basically all the big holidays to end the year.
Again, like a really weird schedule.
Yeah.
Really weird release.
Yeah,
schedule.
once Netflix got into breaking their own, Netflix started the whole dropping a whole season at once thing. Like, and when they did that, everybody thought they were crazy, then everybody loved it, and then Netflix started fucking around with that and going like, oh, well, we're gonna put up half of it, and then another half later. And then you had things
they realized...
Remember the final season of Cobra Kai, where it was like almost a year between parts at one point?
Well, like, they realized, if they dropped all of the episodes, like when did it drop? Like around Thanksgiving?
The first part? Yeah.
Yeah.
On Thanksgiving Day.
If they dropped all the episodes and then like people could like binge through all 8 episodes, cancel their Netflix subscription, but now they're like at least on the hook for like a month's subscription. Like if they subscribed when it premiered, they're going to have to get charged again for next month to keep for the next episodes, if they keep their Netflix.
I don't think it's too egregious here. They're releasing it on holidays. So I think it's almost more just to like, as a hype cycle thing, I think. Yeah. Okay, you get together with your family and you watch it on Thanksgiving. And then you get together with your family and you watch it on Christmas. And then you get together with your friends, I guess, and watch the finale on New Year's.
Right.
And so it's kind of got this like hype cycle built. And it's not egregious because it's only like a few weeks between them. It's like 3 weeks between the first part and second part, and then it's a week between the second part and the finale. So it's almost like as if they started releasing these on Thanksgiving, like when they dropped the first 4 episodes, and just released 1 episode a week, it would take longer for all the episodes to be out than it's going to be out with the structure they're using. So it's kind of like interesting in that way, you know? But yeah, I mean, the egregious one that Netflix did was like Cobra Kai, where Cobra Kai had, they split the final season into 3 parts, and like there was months and months and months between each part. So where I think the difference between part 1 and part 3 of the last season of Cobra Kai was like more than a year apart from each other or something. It was crazy. It's like, how can you call this the same season at that point?
Right.
It's really trying to stretch out what the word season means, at that point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like really stretching it out. But anyway, get to the season itself. Really strong start, I thought, these 4 episodes. I thought, okay, this is a really strong start to the season. I really enjoyed these 4 episodes.
The budget is notably higher and obvious.
Yes.
It's obviously higher. You can see it, There's a lot more going on. There's even like season 4 was pretty high budget and stuff, but you think about the prison scene with the Demogorgon fight in the prison in season 4 and like think about that and then think about the battle that happened at the end of the 4th episode in season 5 part 1 and it's like night and day difference, like in obvious like budgeting, It's like one is seriously way more expensive than the other. I also noticed somebody pointed out that in the first season, they did a lot to kind of like obscure the Demogorgon, like it's like, oh, keep it in shadow as much as possible. You only want to see it, in key moments. They're really kind of conserving it. Now it's like everything's out in the open.
Oh yeah, everything's out in the open. There are multiple Demogorgon at once and like, the last episode of the season. So they're not being shy with the special effects at this point.
Yeah, not at all. They're going overboard with it.
But to be
even
fair,
have like a Game of Thrones style wall.
To be fair, also, aside from budget considerations, there's also, in the first season, there's story considerations, like it works to keep it mysterious. It keeps you engaged, but now that they've shown the Demogorgon, it doesn't make any sense to like keep it mysterious anymore. So,
no.
yeah.
They're not trying.
Yeah, they're not trying.
Yeah.
It's like, with Lost and the Smoke Monster, it's like, oh, it was like a big mystery thing, but once like they explained what it was all about and stuff, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You can't be like, oh, mystery anymore,
Yeah, you just gotta kind of show it for what it is at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so Stranger Things, season 5, part 1, 4 episodes. First episode felt very different than a first episode of Stranger Things normally is. Because usually what happens with the first episode of Stranger Things, including the first season.
Quo.
Exactly. It's you're starting from this point of status quo, and you're kind of building, and you're kind of giving hints to like, what's going to be the big dark thing that's happening?
Oh yeah, yeah. We know like the weird stuff is bubbling up to the surface again, but at the point of the beginning of the season, it's just bubbling. So we know shit's going to spill over, but like for now, everything is status quo and just something rising to the surface that's going to continue to rise and overflow as the season goes on and drag them in. But we return to these kids in their lives, usually at a new point in their life where like they're focusing on school, or like season 3, like a new mall opened and they're obsessed with it.
They always have like a different kind of gimmick thing to it. It's like the second season they were doing like the trick or treating as Ghostbusters.
Yeah, season 4 they're in California.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have these like kind of like these different like, okay, here's our gimmick
is, like,
for where the kids are now.
Dealing with bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here it's like, no, we just go we hit the ground running.
Here we meet them and they're actively looking for Vecna. Yeah. They are actively they are doing raids in the, sweeps in the Upside Down trying to find Vecna's location.
They're going like region by region. They're like, they have like a grid map and they're like just exploring one grid at a time,
Yeah.
Being very
Hawkins itself is in full lockdown by the military.
Yeah, they covered that giant like cross-section separation where the town like split into parts at the end of the last season. They basically just metal covered that over. They just bolted down some steel over the top of it and said, okay, yeah, nothing's getting through now.
Yeah, exactly. And the military is a major antagonistic force. They are also actively looking for 11, who is with Hopper training. She really wants to go into the Upside Down and kick some ass. Hopper is, of course, being overprotective as per usual. Yeah, and that's basically like where we meet our main cast at this point. Dustin is interesting in the season because he's dealing with some anger and depression over what happened with Eddie Munson at the end of season 4. Yeah, he's had it.
He doesn't want to play shit anymore. He's like, he's channeling he's starting to look like Eddie. He's got like longer hair now. He's wearing the rings on his hand,
the rings on his head. He's wearing the Hellfire Club shirt.
Yeah, he's just going straight up like antagonistic against the people that would oppress him otherwise. He's like not shying away anymore. He's done being meek.
Yeah.
He's like in an interesting place, but that comes from a place of trauma.
Yeah, it comes from a place of trauma, yeah. The other kids are kind of like, yeah, Eddie dying was sad, but they don't realize Dustin had a stronger bond with Eddie than the other kids did. They were like friends, but Dustin looked up to him as like a mentor, practically. So he's the one who's hit the hardest by this. And I don't think the people around Dustin really quite understand this.
It's causing a big stressor with him, with other people. Like him and Steve, are having like a big fight basically throughout it.
Oh, yeah, throughout it.
Speaking of Steve, you got Steve and talking about in a fight, you have Steve and Jonathan.
They're still competing for Nancy. Yeah.
Well, at least Jonathan is. Steve is like implying that he's not. Like he's just.
I think he is. Because Steve.
I don't know if he is or if he just wants to be the hero.
Yeah, I don't know. Because like he's pretending like it, but like Nancy can see right through it. Nancy is a dumb. Like the scene where they have to turn on the radio signal or whatever, fix
They're
it.
Racing up the antenna.
They're racing each other up the antenna for like no reason. It's like, Steve is definitely in it to win it, even if he claims he's not.
You got Robin and Nancy just kind of looking at him racing up the tower like, ugh.
Yeah.
This year we got to focus on Holly Wheeler, who had always been just like a nothing character. She just existed.
Yeah, she was the little sister, right? She was the
just
little
existed.
Sister.
That was about it.
Yeah. We got a big focus on her, and this it's also like she is a big focus of the season. It's also like a big plot development too. Like
new actress playing her, by the way, Nell Fisher, who was the young girl in the Evil Dead Rise movie.
Apparently, Vecna has taken a special interest in children this season. That came out creepy.
Vecna's creepy.
Yeah, Vecna's creepy. Not in that way. At least not yet.
There is kind of an underpinning of that. There is kind of an underpinning of creepiness to Vecna, even going back to the way he was interacting with like Eleven when she was a child. There was like there's a little bit of a stranger danger vibe going on. It's similar to like what happens with like Pennywise. Like Pennywise kills these kids. He's like a villain and stuff, but at the same time, it's almost like allegorical of like a groomer or a molester.
Right. Oh yeah. We don't like get this at first. We see Holly talking to somebody.
She has an imaginary friend. She calls Mr.
Like,
What's It.
First we see her talking to somebody who's like just off screen. And then like they'll show the person she's talking to, obviously. And then there's one scene where she's talking to him. And then we see her teacher follows her. And we see her through her teacher's eyes. And it looks like she's talking to nobody. There's nobody there. And it's like, oh, okay. And then we find out through the course of the story. Whether big reveals, I don't know if this was episode 2, I think, at the end, was the big reveal was the person she was talking to was Vecna, or like it, like his human form, which I forget his human name off the top of my head.
Yeah, that was in episode 2, because that was when they were talking to their mom at the hospital.
Yeah, that's right. Because it shows her talking to him again, and then it actually shows him, and we can see, like, oh yeah, that is Henry. That's Vecna.
Yeah, appearing as Henry. Like, basically looking like he did to Eleven when they were
he's not
in the facility together.
He's not going to get any kids to trust him looking like Vecna. So,
he could now. He would just walk up to a kid looking exactly like that, and the kid would be scared at first, and then he'd just say, I am Groot.
Yeah, I'm Groot. Yeah.
And then the kids would run up to him and hug him.
Again, like a mystery is set. What is Vecna doing? Because this was obviously not what he was doing in season 4.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing Freddy Krueger shit in season 4, and now he's doing this.
Why is he being nice to the kids?
Yeah.
Why is he trying to win them over? Like, he wasn't trying to do that before.
Yeah, what's the angle? It's basically, right? Yeah.
That gets revealed in episode 2. At the end of episode 1, we find out that a Demogorgon is coming after the Wheeler family. And it's when it's just...
Oh, yeah, it's
just the parents and Holly are the only ones that are there. And then we find out, okay, it's specifically targeting Holly, and that's how the first episode ends. The second episode had like a redacted title. It said The Disappearance of Redacted.
Oh,
it turned out that it's The Disappearance of Holly Wheeler.
Yeah, Holly
and
Wheeler, yeah.
That's a parallel to the first episode of Stranger Things.
Yeah, The Disappearance of Will Byers.
Yeah. So they did like a little clever thing like
same
that.
Same thing, yeah, because the same thing is happening to Holly. It turns out thanks to Will and his connection to, I don't know, I'm going to call it VecnaNet.
The hive mind or...
The hive, yeah, they call it the hive mind in that. I think they could come up with something more clever than just the hive mind, but fine, whatever.
Vecna OL.
I like...
VOL instead of AOL.
Yeah, VOL. I like VecnaNet. I guess that would really make sense since the internet did not really exist in 1987 outside like BBS. Very basic peer-to-peer
So
connections.
Will's trolling Vecnagram.
Yeah, Vecnagram. But Will has a connection, and so through that, like, he realizes he was seeing, like, Holly through Vecna's eyes. And then he realized that he was seeing another kid also through Vecna's eyes, and realizes that, oh, there's another kid that's being targeted, so it's not just Holly.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid turns out to be the greatest character in
all of fiction.
In all of fiction, yes.
Derek Turnbow,
Yeah.
the farter supreme.
The farter supreme.
He is the archetype of the privileged asshole kid.
Yes.
That everybody fucking hates in school, but he's
I
powerful.
Which I don't even, think he's an asshole, because they show him and he's like, I don't know, he doesn't, really act like much of a bully. He just, seems to be, a bit antisocial.
I don't know about that. He,
awkward.
pushes the kid.
That's true.
And then he, makes fun of his parents and, his sister, not in a playful way.
Well, maybe
He's
they're
kind
jerks.
of a jerk.
I don't know, yeah.
But he turns a new leaf.
Oh, yeah. He's targeted by Vecna, but their plan is they're going to kidnap him and try to keep him away from Vecna.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to save him, and they have this whole plan, this elaborate plan. They try to Home Alone a Demogorgon.
Yeah, they homo. Yeah, exactly.
I should say this happens in the third episode, which was directed, by the way, by Frank Darabont, who came out of retirement. This is the director of The Shawshank Redemption here, the creator of the Walking Dead TV series.
Right.
He came out of retirement to direct some episodes
Frank
of Stranger
Darabont.
Things, and he directed the episode 3 was the first one he directed.
Because they recruit Lucas' sister, Erica.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to show when Erica gets involved, because she's such a great character.
You can't spell America without Erica.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my word. That line. She's so great. Apparently she was best friends with the Turnbow daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Ex-best friends, because they had a fight recently, which Lucas and them trying to argue with her to help them was so hilarious.
Yeah.
And she has one of the best lines in the season too that cracked me up, because they get her to go along with it, and their idea is they're going to have her drug the entire family with sleeping pills.
Mm-hmm.
She puts it in this pie that she made.
Benzos, I believe, which were acquired by Robin. She got them from the hospital that her girlfriend works at.
Yes, details. Anyway, she has everybody eat the pie, except the daughter refuses to eat the pie. So everybody gets knocked out, and then the daughter's asking her to call 911 or something, and she says, I told you to call 911. And Erica says, and I told you to eat the damn pie, and sticks her into the syringe.
Yeah.
I was cracking up at that. That was great. And then once everybody's drugged and cleared out, then they turn the house into this big Home Alone trap for the
including cutting out a giant section of a floor.
Yeah.
Talk about, expensive. It's not just the special effects here.
The reason they're doing this is because half the plan is to save Derek, and the other half of the plan is they're going to plant a tracker in the Demogorgon. So they have to hang around for the Demogorgon to show up in order to plant the tracker into it.
Yep. And they're gonna do that by means of Shogun.
Yeah.
And they Home Alone the Demogorgon to make him vulnerable enough that they can get that tracker on him. And then after that, the Demogorgon escapes, and they're tracking it now. This is the same, they introduced this method of tracking where they're in the regular world and they're tracking something in the upside down using this radio transmitter. They were doing it for Hopper when they were doing these runs. So they introduced that idea there, and then here they've tagged the Demogorgon with it. But the plan goes awry. Everything went perfectly on the plan, except somebody wasn't paying attention to the greatest character in all of fiction, Derek Turnbow, who had managed to get his hood off. And since Vecna works on a hive mind, he was able to see exactly where they were and was able to send a Demogorgon after them. In the hideout that they were trying to hide him away at.
By the way, it's a reoccurring thing in this, especially this season, where their plans don't go smoothly at all. Something always goes wrong at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is one of them. And then Derek makes things worse by he gets freed, and then he's just, understandably freaked out, to be fair.
He's also been visited by Henry under the guise of Mr. What's-It. Being visited by him, he trusts him. He doesn't trust these people that kidnapped him. Obviously, them kidnapping him makes him even less trustworthy to them. But he ends up trusting them once they save him from a fucking monster.
Yeah, once the Demogorgon shows up, Then he starts taking them seriously.
Yeah. So they end up saving him. The military takes all of the other kids because they realize what's going on too. They take all the kids under a certain age in town.
Yeah, they're rounding up all the kids in town, and then they realize, oh yeah, we gotta save the other kids being targeted by Vecna.
Mm-hmm.
But the military has them now, so we gotta get in there. And their solution is Mike comes up with the solution. It's pretty ingenious.
I think it was Robin that came up with it. She made the movie reference.
No, it's Mike. Mike came up with this plan to send Derek in. Because Robin mentions
the tunnels. Robin had the plan to dig the tunnels and to go up into
the bathroom. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Mike's plan was to send in Derek.
Send Derek, to Evil because they need somebody on the inside to dig the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Mike comes up with the idea to send Derek because Derek is a kid that they would want to be rounding up, and so he knew, as soon as Derek showed up there, they would bring him into the facility.
Mm-hmm.
Which works. And again, this is another plan. The whole Derek gets in, and then the second phase that is Derek starts identifying the kids who've talked to,
Mr.
Henry.
Whatsit, yeah.
Mr. Whatsit, yeah. Starts identifying those kids. Not every kid there has, obviously. The first kid he talks to doesn't know what the hell he's talking about and thinks he's a weirdo. But then the kids who have talked to Henry, Mr. Whatsit, start gravitating to him, and he creates a group with them, and then they start digging the tunnel in the bathroom, and the whole plan is going smoothly until, they inadvertently bust a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a bathroom, and water starts getting all over the place. So, the one kid that Derek talked to at first, who had not been visited by Henry Vecna, kind of sees that, gets curious, and then sees, what's going on, and then rats them out to the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snitches get stitches.
Snitches get stitches. Yep. And so the military finds them, they're all found out, and it looks like everything is pretty much over. The military has, everybody. And then the Demogorgons show up for the kids.
Yeah, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And they're just tearing through the military like they're nothing.
Yeah, they're just tearing through them. They got several of the kids in a van with Murray, and, Murray is there, and so is Robin. So they got several of the kids in a van with Murray and Robin. They start gunning it. They can't wait any longer. The Demogorgons are closing in. And then it leads to, a really dire situation. And then, the chaos escalates until Vecna himself shows up.
Yeah, and he just bodies a bunch of bullets, decimates a bunch of troops. Just no issue at all. They try to use a flamethrower on him, and he, psychically holds back the flames, throws them around like they're nothing. Does a really brutal kill on one of the soldiers where he, puts his, arm tentacles, through his face. He's just decimating everybody left and right.
Oh, yeah.
And then he grabs Will and basically taunts him and says that through Will he learned that kids are weak and easily manipulatable. And
apparently he's going to turn these kids into, his own personal soldiers or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do to them what he did to Will. He basically picks up Will and then starts expositioning, his plans.
He's like, I'm gonna kill you, Mr. Bond, but before that...
He basically came in there to be like, oh, yeah, you were wondering what I was up to. Well, this is it. I heard you were wondering why I was doing what I was doing. Well, let me explain.
It was my Bond villain monologue.
Yes, which I believe, because they showed this scene in, one of the trailers, but I believe they changed the dialogue for the trailer.
Yeah, I think they did, because they had, Will kind of arguing back against him or something in the trailer, and here he's just kind of quiet.
Yeah, because, I think his trailer dialogue was, more on the lines of, you're gonna help me or something,
I think they just used his dialogue from the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah.
Because they had a scene where it shows Will when he was first abducted and he was in the Upside Down, which is great de-aging effect, by the way, on him. And then they had, Vecna show up and, kind of talk to an unconscious Will saying, you and I are gonna do beautiful things together.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you and I are gonna do beautiful things together.
So I think they just used that dialogue.
They just used... And it makes sense because, the actual dialogue from the scene is, so spoilery that, they couldn't use that. But that was another thing that stuck out to me. Meanwhile, Hop and 11, and eventually Dustin, Steve, and Nancy end up in the Upside Down. And Jonathan end up in the Upside Down.
We should say the military has a base in the Upside Down.
Yeah, the military has been going through the Upside Down. Basically, I said at the top that they were doing, sweeps of the Upside Down to find Vecna. Well, they've only had access to the Upside Down because of the military, opening the gates. They've basically been waiting for the military to open the doors to the Upside Down, and they were sneaking in after them.
Yeah, they were sneaking into the convoys that were going into the Upside Down from the military.
Yeah,
Hop
exactly.
was, at least, by himself.
Yeah. That's how Hop gets into the Upside Down.
11 gets there chasing after Holly when she's abducted.
Yes.
And then the rest of them go in Steve's car. They literally crash through the Demogorgon that they were tracking through, and Mike realizes...
This was this was after the barn. So after the Demogorgon leaves the barn, they notice it's flipping again.
It wasn't Mike, it was Steve that realized that the gates were kind of fleshy. They weren't solid.
Right. Yeah, because it was flipping again, and flipping is their turn for the Demogorgon going back into the Upside Down. And Steve notices it's fleshy, and he gets the idea that he could just ram his car through it, and they could just get in.
Mm-hmm. And that works.
Yeah, that works, yeah.
But they're bickering, and they crash into the giant fleshy tentacle wall.
Yeah, the big tentacle wall, which is actually, Dustin figures out, is actually a circle encircling the Upside Down.
It's encircling the old Hawkins lab.
Yes. So it suggests that the only parts of the Upside Down that they've been in up until this point that we've seen are the parts that's within that circle. So we don't know what's beyond that circle.
Well, no. The circle is the inside. They can't get to the Hawkins lab area. That wall is new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the wall is new, and it's closed off that Hawkins laboratory, which is apparently what Vecna is using, basically. That's where He's on the other side of that wall, and they built that big wall to stop any Freddy from getting through.
Right, and we know Holly is beyond that wall. And we find out from 11 that there are other kids that Vecna has already kidnapped besides Holly.
Yeah, and they're in a dream. They're in the dreams. We got that in season 4 where 11 piggybacked into Max to fight Vecna in a dream, and she ended up fighting him at a dance or something that was one of Max's memories.
Yes.
And so they're in kind of a world of dreams where their bodies are unconscious, or in the case of Max, her mind is disconnected from her body. But they're basically strung up the same way Will was. Presumably with demo slugs being put into their stomachs like Will was.
Ugh. Yeah. And Holly is in the dream world. She's in this...
Having the time of her life.
Having her time is she's in this house. There's this cozy house.
It's the Creel house. It's
the Creel house. Yeah, she's in the Creel house. Have time of her life. She finds
making herself cakes.
Yeah, she finds a note to go into the woods. Henry told her not to go into the woods, but the note is signed Henry. So she's like, oh well, guess I have to do this. She goes in there and she finds Max.
Yeah, then we get a big scene with Max where she talks about... We get
the full exposition of, her time being, trapped in the maze, the unconscious world, the maze of, memories.
And how she almost got out.
Yeah, how she almost got out.
And the tape stopped playing. And that was long enough for Henry to show up and start chasing her. And then she ended up running to this cave that was in the memory, and she was able to get away because Henry was terrified of going into the cave.
Yes, something about that terrifies Henry Vecna and may hold the key to defeating him.
Yeah, we don't know what that is yet, though. We just know there's something that he will not go there. And so Max has been hiding out there until she discovered she'd kind of given up at that point. She was chased in the mountain and was giving up on getting out, and then she saw Holly. Yeah. And she was like, okay, I gotta do something now.
Yeah. So we got Max back, and that's basically everything that happened pretty much in Stranger Things Season 5 in a nutshell.
Well, there is something big that happens at the very end of the last episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. Will has 11 powers.
Yeah, after Vecna basically obliterates everybody and his Demogorgons are about to kill all of our main cast members, and Will is on the ground, and Vecna leaves, Will stands back up just in time and uses 11 style powers to basically stop all the Demogorgons in their track. And then he even gets the nosebleed and does the arm wipe of the nose like 11 does.
Yeah.
And then 11, who had thought that they were hiding Vecna, that the military had captured Vecna, and he was in that base in the underground because he knew that somebody powerful like her was there, goes there and finds the character from the worst episode of Stranger Things ever, 8.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had kind of forgotten about it, but I was also it makes sense to bring her back because it was why introduce those characters and never do anything with them again? Mm-hmm. That seemed weird. So I'm glad they're going back to that well, and they're doing more with, like, that character, because, yeah, it was weird to introduce a character that was, like, 11 for, like, a season. Season 2 is, like, the weakest season of Stranger Things, in my opinion.
It's got some good strengths, but overall it's pretty bad, and it also has the worst episode, which is the one that primarily featured this character.
Yes. And so, like, at first, like, I didn't clock it. Thankfully, they did the whole flashback thing to, like, remind me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad they're actually going back to that well. That was, like, a weird loose end, because before they said they had somebody powerful in there, and they thought it was Vecna, like, the military had captured Vecna. Even though, like, I knew, as soon as they said it, they were trying to set up as, like, I knew that, like, that made, like, no goddamn sense whatsoever. I was like, that can't be Vecna, because that doesn't make any sense, because how would the military even capture Vecna to begin with? And it wasn't.
Well, I thought maybe it was him. I thought it was going to be a misdirect, that it was something else. But I thought it could be him just because at the end of season 4, they had basically, like, come really close to killing Vecna.
They did,
and,
yeah.
And then they just didn't find his body. So I'm like, well, maybe he was caught, like, right after that.
But how could he be doing what he's doing if he's also being, like, you know, like...
Psychically, you know? Like,
yeah, well, psychically, but, like, how is it... It doesn't make sense to me, because, like...
Yeah, it would be a weird... It would be on the edge of logic.
Yeah.
They would have had to have written a reason that he was able to do it. Like, maybe he wanted to be there. Like, he was manipulating
because I feel like, you know, if the military had him, they would be, like, subduing his powers, too. You know, like, that would obviously, like, make sense. They clearly have these machines of disabled psychics like 11, you know? Yeah. I was like, that's a stretch. It's definitely not Vecna in there.
I thought it could be, but if it was because he wanted to be, kind of thing, you know, like,
right, yeah.
He was doing some sort of manipulation, but that turned out to not even be the case. It turned out to be that it wasn't him at all. It was Holly, 8, and, yeah. We didn't really mention the brutal attack on the Wheelers. We talked about Holly being abducted.
We talked about Holly being abducted.
Ted and Karen are, like, in intensive care in the hospital, like, they're induced coma.
They almost died.
Yeah.
That was brutal. That was, like, a really good scene.
Yeah.
Too. Which, like, I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they didn't, like, go the full step and kill them off, like, entirely, but I thought they did it at first. I thought, oh man.
I think eventually, and I've heard that there's gonna be some key deaths in this season. That's what the Duffer Brothers have been, like, warning about, I guess. I don't know how true that's gonna be, but it would be weird to do it that early, because that would be, if you did that, then you'd have to, like, write Mike and Nancy basically being put back from that. You know what I mean? Like, how would they be able to operate their plans and be able to do what they're doing and be able to have the chemistry between the characters and kind of those moments if both of their parents were murdered, you know?
Right,
It'd be hard to, like, make that believable.
There's a balance there to, like, killing off characters. Yeah, exactly. It's like killing off characters in fiction. It's a big thing, because, like, there's a lot you have to, like, take into consideration, because it's the kind of thing that does have a huge effect on the stories that you're telling.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's
gonna affect the other characters, you know? And that's gonna impact it. And sometimes you have to go, okay, is this gonna be something that's worth doing? Like, or are we just gonna be, like, going into are we gonna have, like, a full episode where the characters are just in mourning and super depressed the whole time, you know? Like, how can you keep the momentum up if you're doing that? It is a tricky balance to nail, you know? Especially a show like Stranger Things, which is, overall, it's a fun show. And you can't just have the horror and the action. You have to have horror action, but you have to, like, kind of offset that with, like, the fun and adventure. And if you're just, like, killing off, like, characters that are really important to those other characters, and that doesn't make sense anymore. It just doesn't work. So I'm glad they didn't kill them, at least initially. I think there's a good chance that we could lose a lot more characters than them and a lot more major characters than them as the show goes on, but there's a time and a place for that.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to talk about the leader of the military group here.
Oh, yeah,
Dr. K, Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor, yeah. They're, again, like, recruiting these iconic actors from the 80s and 90s to have prominent roles. Yeah, Sarah Connor. We don't know much about Dr. K. You know, she's in charge of the military operation in Hawkins. She's looking for 11. That's basically it. We don't really, like, know her motivations in this. We get the impression that she thinks, like, what she's doing is saving the world. She doesn't seem to be, like, a bad guy, like, she's out to do terrible things. she seems to be a person who thinks she's doing the right thing in finding this, but she is, but as we've seen, she's also like pretty ruthless in accomplishing her goals, her mission.
Yes.
You know, like she is not the type, she's not like a soft person.
No, not at all. Yeah. Good casting.
Yeah, good casting. Yeah.
It is funny how Stranger Things always has like one or two big actors every season that are iconic 80s figures. I mean, even starting on the first season, you have Winona Ryder, you know, one of the leads of the show, Winona Ryder.
And
then
she's fantastic.
And Matthew Modine, you know, or like, those are kind of like the big ones brought in.
Sean Astin.
Season. Second season brought in Sean Astin.
Yep.
And, was it in the second? Yeah, the second season also had the mayor, what's his name from, Princess Bride? Carrie
Ells, yeah.
Yeah, Carrie Ells, yeah. And then third season, I'm trying to remember who they brought in.
Yeah, I'm blanking. But they brought in Robert Englund for season 4. You know, like,
definitely.
Which was very, like, appropriate with what they were doing with Vecna in that season. But, yeah. All kinds of, like, fun guest starring roles and cameos in Stranger Things. Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser. That was also season 2.
Yeah.
Where he came in.
Also season 2, yeah.
We haven't seen his character.
No,
his character was abducted by the military group at the end of season 4. We haven't seen him since.
We don't know how they need to address that. I hope they realize that.
I mean, maybe they just didn't cast him, like, for the season.
Paul Reiser was busy? I don't know. Like, yeah. That's kind of like a weird loose thread.
If they didn't cast him, I could imagine he might be mad about that. He might look at the producer and say, I'm mad about you. He might look at the producers and say, I'm so mad about you that I could have 3 men and a baby. But yeah, that's pretty much Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1. We're going to be talking about Part 2 sometime in January. We're doing, it's not going to be right when we come back in January because we're going to be off for Christmas and New Year's. And then when we come back, we're going to be doing our best of 2025 event. And we're going to focus on that. And then like the week after that, I think we're going to do Stranger Things Season 5, Parts 2 and 3, like the rest of the season, basically, in one go. But yeah, until then, you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I am at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on those platforms. He is at Voxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. Right now, I still don't have the domain back. I'm going to work on that eventually, maybe. I don't know. You can also subscribe to our podcast to your favorite podcast kind of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts. And you can also find our YouTube channel where we have the entire backlog of our podcast as well as additional content. Until next week, thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.